Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel again. And I am joined by my very good friend, Mr. Callum Sanderson. How are you, sir?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. Lovely to be back on the channel. Thanks for having me, man.
Nah, the pleasure's all mine. And after the weekend we just witnessed, the UFC 276 card, we saw Israel Adesanya, the style bender, shut out Jared Cannonier in in a pretty meh title fight.
Mm.
That saw fans walking out in the start of the third round, fans booing after probably the best entrance of all time.
Oh, it's the
You
best.
see,
It's the best.
with the Undertaker attire,
It's
with
the
the
best, hands
urn
down.
that said Jared on it. He had Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, not going to say the other person's name, and it
Yeah.
had the guys from AEW as well, all in the crowd as well. With that entrance and that fight, worlds apart. And that
Fully.
is begging the big question that I've seen online. Is Israel Adesanya a boring fighter? Callum, is he a boring fighter? Or is it
I've,
his dance partners that are
I
making his
think
title fight
it's I
boring?
think it's I think it's mainly his dance partners. But one thing I wanna bring up, I think Izzy has been a bit of a victim of the cards that he's been on. So his last
Yes.
card that he was on was against Robert Whittaker, right?
Yep.
Now you had the Bobby Green fight, which was a hell of a fight against
Hmm.
against Haskarat. Moicano beat Alexander Hernandez.
Yep.
Jared Cannonier and Derek Brunson had a hell of a fight before he got brutally KO'd by
and,
Jared
and
Cannonier.
Jared bounced Brunson's head off the canvas.
Literally. Then you also had Tai Tuivasa versus Derek Lewis. A KO in a very exciting fight. Then you go back to Vittori 2. That card, you had Paul Craig breaking or dislocating
Jamal
Jamal
Hill.
Hill's
Yeah, that was a hell of a
elbow.
card.
Bilal Muhammad beat Damian Maya. The Leon Edwards Nate Diaz fight, which let's be honest, ended superbly.
Brandon Moreno versus
Brandon
Figueredo.
Moreno versus Figueredo, which ended in a submission win
Yeah.
for Brandon. Then you go back to Blachowicz Adesanya, which again probably wasn't the most exciting, but we kind of give him a blind at because that wasn't
Yeah. It's more of
in
a
his weight class.
technical matchup considering he was making the jump to
Yeah,
heavyweight. That's why I've excluded
yeah.
his adventure to light heavyweight.
But you look at those and it's like what's preceded him on his cards has just been craziness.
Yeah.
And some of the best, the most exciting fights we've seen at the time. And then his fights have, as you said, they've been shutouts, and I don't think it's his fault. And the saying goes, if you're going to beat the champion, you've got to take the belt.
Yeah.
No one's really tried to take the well, no, I don't want to sit here and say they haven't tried to take the belt, but they've not really taken too many risks to try and do it. And I don't think that's Izzy's fault. And why should he put himself in danger of losing his belts to be, let's be blunt, to make us happy?
Yeah. Because when you look at when he won the belt, he beat Rob Whittaker in fantastic fashion. Probably if he had a couple of seconds longer, he probably finishes him in the first round.
Yeah.
And then just the slick counter punching. And I was like, wow, you saw like the speed of Adesanya. Wow, if you too aggressive, he just picked you off. And
Yeah.
obviously his first title defense was that utter. You talk about Esparza Rose being the worst female title fight. Adesanya Romero is the top of that list for me. It was
Yeah.
so bad. Romero was a statue, barely engaged. It was boring. It was the last big card before the pandemic as
Yeah.
well, which made it even worse. And like he got a lot of stick for that Adesanya, and that was
Yeah.
For me at the time, that was super unfair, because yet again, Romero, probably his last shot at gold in the UFC, which it
Yeah, it
proved to
was.
be,
Yeah.
because he left to go to Bellator.
Not just that,
Um,
he'd previously lost 2 against Whitaker as well.
yeah, previously lost 2 against Whitaker. Last chance saloon. You knew what type of fighter Romero and Adesanya is. Should have made for a great matchup. And Yoel, I think he froze in that moment. Didn't want to get caught by the counter punch and the speed, the timing. So stood like a statue and was like, all right, okay. Next one, Paulo Costa. This is the one where we saw probably the best of Izzy since he's had the belt. Someone
Yeah.
that wanted to be aggressive, wanted to try and take his head off, and then you saw the leg kicks, and then just finished him emphatically, and then you know Izzy did this little celebration for good measure after
The
the
tap
fight.
tap.
Yeah, he definitely tap. And then afterwards, this is where I have real problems with the dance partners. Obviously, I do agree with you. The cards he's been on,
Yeah.
the expectation for him to go, oh wow, we've seen this. You've got Izzy Stylebender next.
Yeah.
Yes, sign me up. And then guess what? His partners have all froze. Vittori, you're talking a hell of a lot of smack in the press conference. Barely laid a glove. Barely laid a glove. Like Izzy's face was fresh.
Yeah. Remember
And
the
I was
last round, Izzy was slapping and grabbing his bum. That's how
yeah,
comfortable he was.
it's like
Yeah.
yeah, because
Grabbed a handful of meat.
he had a handful of meat, and then when Vittori tried to hit his legs, he was like going, oh, oh, like that. So I blame Vittori there, blew his chance, and he's
Yeah.
probably not going to get another shot at gold.
Not Izzy, no.
The Whitaker fight, there was quite a few people saying, oh, did Whitaker win the fight? I've rewatched that fight again, and um, for me, Whitaker looked like he was scarred from the first fight, knew if he went into aggressive, he'd get picked off,
Yeah.
and sort of thought he did enough to nick it rather than do enough to take it.
Yeah.
Because I remember Whitaker said something after he fought Till. That fight was like he just did enough to nick it, not enough to take it.
Yeah.
And I know people are clamoring for a trilogy. I'm sort of like Izzy, don't particularly want to see it.
No.
And then we come to Jared, and like he's 38. He's not going to get another shot at gold. This was his moment
Yeah.
to be the aggressive killer, heavyweight knockout power at middleweight. Didn't get close. Didn't get close. He was there like he was there to survive, not
Yeah.
there to
Precisely.
win. And then it's sort of unfair on Izzy because he set this high expectation, the high bar for himself to do well. But his partners are not living up to it. Like, this is your moment. You might not get another opportunity at UFC Gold again. And you're sort of like letting time pass you by.
Yeah. See, I almost feel sorry for it because again, you've just read out all the opponents, and it feels a lot like it's similar to kind of what Jones was going through at one point, where no one was really coming out and attacking him, but then we saw the likes of Thiago Santos and especially Dominic Reyes really go for him, and then you saw he was able to stand up to it. Even prior to that, DC brought the best out of him. Gus
Yeah.
brought the best out of him. All these guys went after him and thought, yeah, we're going to try and take this belt from him. It seems as though no one's doing that with Izzy.
The only person that you thought that might have done it was Paulo Costa, but Paulo Costa was just like
He had no chance.
was just
From the
no
first round, you saw it was done.
yeah, but like Izzy hasn't had a proper like a rival like McGregor, Aldo, Masvidal, Usman. Trying to
Oh,
think.
you wouldn't say Gastelum was an arrival?
Yeah. Gastelum, but like that was like a
But sorry,
one-off.
look at Gastelum. Gastelum took it to him.
Yeah,
And what
and
a
like
fight
you
that
said
was.
before, he nearly beat him. He nearly won it. But
Yeah,
that's like the only fight you can go and go. Look what happens when you take it to Izzy.
yeah,
You take him into deep waters, and look, you got success. Obviously, Adesanya has improved massively since then.
Yeah.
No one's even attempted to bring him to deep waters whatsoever, and he's not really had like a two-fight rival, like intense rivalry where like the opponents brought the best out of him. Because Vittori didn't bring the best out of him, Whittaker
Yeah.
didn't bring the best out of him. And now you're hoping we saw Alex Pereira pretty much, send Sean Strickland into a mini retirement.
Yeah.
And now we're fingers crossed that this could be the dance partner we've been waiting for
Yeah.
to bring the best out of Izzy. Because if he has another boring shutout, fans are going to be like, oh, really?
Well, here's the thing though. Let's say he goes on 50-45 Alex Pereira across all three judges.
Jeez.
What can anyone say? Do we not then have to start looking at the opposition and saying, well, guys, you need to up your level? And someone's got to really, really up your level to try and test him, because
Yeah, do
Alex
you know
Pereira
what?
right now is seen as a guy who can go out there, not only beat Izzy, but knock him out.
Mm.
If Izzy goes and dominates him, comes out of that unscathed, surely we've got to now start looking at the opposition and saying, well, they're just not good enough.
Well, hopefully you'd probably think Darren Till will get his together and then hopefully put a couple of wins and actually get the fight that Adesanyas wanted, which is him versus Till.
I think Till needs 2 wins, and I
Yeah,
think he gets the
Till
fight.
needs 2 wins. Hopefully he'll get his first one against Jack Manson at UFC London. Make sure you watch out for content on that one.
Indeed.
And plus, like when you look down at middleweight, like there's no one that really stands out, really, that's gonna go, yeah, he's the next guy. If the I wouldn't say worst case scenario, because I do like Adesanya, I like his fighting style, I like his demeanor. But if he does 40-55 Pereira, if I'm Dana, I'm going Kamaru. How many zeros do you want on the end of that fight check for you to jump up?
Here's a question for you, Colby.
I swear Izzy mentioned it. It's like he's not even beating Kamaru, so there's no way he's going to get a shot at me. And maybe he might need that someone to bring the very, very best out of him. But I think Colby's too small for middleweight. I think he
Here's
walks
the
it
thing:
well.
it's not just a fight I'm talking about. No one's been able to really match Izzy in terms of pre-fight as well. Whittaker is not a trash talker. Vittori's not very good at it. Costa's terrible at it. Jared wasn't engaging in it. Gastelum even didn't. Brunson did a little bit, but we know Colby's going to bring that. He's going to bring eyes to that fight, and he might light a fire under Izzy where Izzy says, right, forget this counter punch. I'm going to go out there and I'm just going to beat this guy up.
Yeah.
Maybe he needs a crossover, because remember, before Chael Sonnen, Anderson Silva was still winning fights and looking good, but he went through a little patch where he was just like, he's cruising. Yeah, Chael Sonnen came and lit that fire.
It's almost like playing with his food. It's what we accused Jones of doing at light heavyweight before he moved. Obviously, we're not advocating Izzy jumps up to light heavy again, even though I think he will do it, just not at the right time. Yeah. But you're looking around that and you're going, yeah, could you give Colby that shot, or could you Hamzat maybe? Hamzat could bring the best out of him.
It could. I genuinely believe. I think Alex Pereira. Let's say, for example, he gets past Alex Pereira. I think there's 2 more fights in that division before he moves up to light heavyweight, and I think that would be Darren Till and Hamzat.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I think Duplessis won the weekend. Duplessis would get absolutely murked, and I think Andre Muniz beat Uriah Hall. Yeah, Muniz, great jiu-jitsu black belt. Striking is not really up to scratch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, you're looking at the UFC at the moment, like in terms of their champs. I wouldn't say that they're all boring is just another word for, he's dominant. There's no challenges. You're looking at welterweight, dominant. You're looking at featherweight, dominant. You're looking at, I might say,
I mean, lightweight, Charles is dominant. However, you'd say Charles's fights are more exciting, but look who he's fighting.
yeah, better
Poirier,
caliber,
Chandler, Gaethje, they all come to take your head off when they fight.
the killers division. Then
Yeah.
you're looking at, yeah, those are like the three most dominant champions in the whole company. I can't talk about like heavyweight because
Well,
it's,
Valentin, hold on,
oh
Valentina.
yeah, oh yeah,
The
yeah,
bullet.
forgot Valentina. I don't want to be disrespecting her
Yeah, exactly.
anytime soon. So we've probably got Valentina, Izzy, Usman, and Volkanovski. Probably the pound for pound, the best
Yeah.
four fighters in the whole company. And that's it. You can't really say light heavyweight. It's been nicknamed. It's not light heavyweight. It's the hot potato division. Who wants it? To me, to you. Cheers, Barry. Chuckle Brothers. We'll just pass it around, get the championship money.
I can see Yuri hang on to that for a few fights, though, if I'm going to be honest.
Depends what they do next with it, whether or not they'll book the Glover rematch, which I think they should. I
I'd
think they
like to
should
say that.
forget Blahovic because I feel like he needs another win. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, you're not gonna go off his Rakic fight. Rakic blew out his knee, so it's not really counting that.
Yeah.
And then, or you give Kamaru his wish, and then you let him jump the queue, and you let him jump at light heavy, which would be hilarious because he'd lose, which would be so funny because he's starting to get cringy.
Yeah, he is.
But back to the big question: is he a boring fighter, or are his opponents boring?
I don't think he's boring. I think he's doing enough without putting himself in harm's way to win these fights in the same way Floyd used to. Floyd Mayweather in boxing used to.
Yeah,
We've seen he's not boring, and we've seen that in fights such as the Derek Brunson fight, the Calvin Gastelum fight, the Anderson Silva fight was exciting as hell. That was a brilliant fight. We've seen it in the Costa fight.
Whitaker won.
Whitaker won. Like even Whitaker a 2 in the first round. Excellent. And he had Whitaker backing up for most of that fight in the second fight as well. So
And then Whitaker went into shutdown mode and tried to survive the rest of the
you use
fight.
the word there, survive. This is what his opponents are doing. They're just going out there to survive. None of them are really going out there to win at the moment.
Or would you get on the phone? I know Dana's not going to do it because get on the phone to another promotion saying, "Hey, do you want your top champion versus our top champ? Make a ton of money." Or do you think there is no one out any promotion that thinking could bring the best out of Izzy?
Well,
Looking
here's the
at
crazy thing. Everyone was starting to speak about Masasi.
oh,
Masasi lost his most recent fight, lost the belt.
got shut out.
Got shut out, completely shut out. So it's like
Then you got
Dana's not going to make that risk because if any of Dana's fighters lose to a Bellator fighter, for example, the credibility of his company is going to go down because people are going to be like, "Oh, so you guys aren't the best." He'd never do it.
No.
As much as I'd love to see, he'd never do it.
You're looking at probably one, I think, is it the Riddler, a champion at one, said that he'd tap Izzy out. And I'll be like, okay, cool.
I mean, everyone says stuff like this. Everyone says they're going to wrestle him. I mean, look at takedowns. You might be able to take him down. You can't keep him down. You can't.
Just pops back up again.
Pops back up.
The only
You
person
can't
that took
strike
him
with
down
him.
and held him down doesn't even fight in your division because he was weighing like 50 pounds heavier than him on fight night.
Exactly.
And which was Jan.
Yeah.
So it begs the question, like what's next for Izzy? It's going to be him versus Pereira. That is the only logical fight, unless Darren Till pulls off the biggest promo ever
Nah,
at UFC London, but it's not going to happen. It's going to be Izzy versus Alex Pereira. Do you think it happens before the end of the year?
Well, July? Yes.
Yes.
Both fresh. I reckon I wouldn't be surprised if it happened around October, November.
Oh, just before we go, did you see what Alex Pereira weighed in on fight night?
No, what was it?
Weighed 220 pounds fight night. Yeah.
Hold on.
Weighed in
He
at
put on
184.
35 pounds.
Yeah. Yes.
Bloody yo. This is
Not
what
gonna
makes
lie.
this fight so intriguing, though.
I reckon when Glover retires, Pereira will go to light heavyweight
Yeah.
because he's not
Him
gonna.
versus Yuri.
Him versus Blachowicz. Him versus. Hey Jones, where you at, boy? Jones, yeah, but Jones loves him at the moment because he might knock out Izzy, and if
But
that
here's the
happens,
thing: we speak about Izzy doing the champ thing, and people even say Izzy could make. Well, again, I wouldn't be surprised if he could. Pereira's the guy who could do. He could shatter everyone's dreams when it comes to Izzy Adesanya.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Like he could
This
be the
is
guy.
his toughest test, and this is why I think it's going to be his. I wouldn't say his best performance, but this will be probably his best fight since he's had the belt.
Yeah.
A person that has legitimately knocked him out cold, a guy that is probably the better striker out the two,
Oh, I disagree. I think he's the more powerful
the more
striker.
powerful striker.
I think Izzy's a better striker.
We know Izzy ain't gonna wrestle. I'll be shocked if Izzy walks in with the knee pads. We know he's wrestling all day.
I'll be honest. I think Pereira might wrestle.
Well, he's got one of the best jiu-jitsu practitioners in the game in Glover. So it would. Could you imagine if he taps him out? Could you imagine?
Would not
If,
be surprised if we saw Pereira go for takedowns to mix up his game.
and catches him with that left like he did Strickland. Oh my
Well, like he did Izzy. It was the left that put Izzy down as well.
jeez! I know that's gonna be one hell of a fight. But that will be back end of the year, and when that fight gets announced, we'll do previews on it. We'll cover it. We'll
Oh
do fight
yeah, we'll do
campaigns.
everything for that.
Absolutely, we'll stay up, get the pegs, to
Again.
clip our eyes open.
Yeah.
And everyone that's watched, massive thank you. Make sure you hit the like button and the share button and the subscribe button as well. Make sure you check out Sanderson's show as well. Link will be hopefully in the title. And if it's not in the title, it will definitely be in the description as well. Make sure we're helping Callum get to 1,000 subs because Sanderson's show deserves to be on 1,000 subs. And make sure that you subscribe to Coppage as well for Liverpool content as well. Callum, anything coming up on the Sanderson show?
We're gonna be doing some stuff around UFC London. So the build up to that. We speak about the featherweight goat as well.
Yes.
Who is the featherweight goat as things stand? Then obviously 277. Got some good stuff coming out this month.
Oh yes,
Looking forward to
absolutely.
it.
And plus we got a card that we don't actually have to stay
I
up late
know
for.
we can
UFC London.
actually, we can actually go to bed at a normal time when the card finishes. Feel
Yeah, we're gonna get
amazing.
treated.
Yeah.
So everyone's watching, thank you very much, and we'll see you all very soon. Cheers.